Hello, I'm Jo Good, and this is the SheerLuxe panel, the Gold edition, dedicated to our wonderful Gold viewers. We have some fabulous chat coming up, covering fashion, well-being and careers. But first of all, let me introduce my truly fabulous guests. I'm delighted to be joined by the author, the podcaster, the journalist and wild swimmer, Susannah Constantine, creative director, podcast host and writer, Amanda Wakeley, and writer, presenter and author, Paula Sutton. Welcome, girls.
Thank you, Jo. It's so nice to be here.
Do you realise that between all of us, we have almost 1 million Instagram followers?
Do we really?
Oh, wonderful.
Gosh.
I don't think I account for many.
I don't account for many. Paula, over to you. But it's not bad, given, you know, we are women of age, and it shows that we do have a following, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Is it difficult to hang on to them?
Do you know, they follow for different reasons. So when I first started doing my Instagram, it was very much, I'd just moved to Norfolk. It was wholesome, I was gardening, I was finding myself, I was finding my style. And over the years, I found my style, and I'm now sort of talking about lots of different things, and my gardening, and my interiors. So you lose a few, because they might not know you for what you've evolved into, but then you gain because, you know, people like different things. So it's there's an ebb and flow, but it's all good.
Would you agree, Amanda?
Totally. And I think we have to stay authentic. And the minute you don't, then you lose followers, I think. And so as long as you're really true to yourself, then your following will grow with you.
Yes, I agree. Susannah, you plunging into a cold tub, which we'll talk about later, with a load of expletives, has me gripped nearly every single day.
I mean, I agree with Amanda that it's about being authentic, and I don't do it deliberately, but I probably am one of the most
You
real.
are deeply authentic.
Because I don't bother to wear makeup. I'm a lazy cow, basically, and I just get it done and do it. But there's something really fabulous about being a 62-year-old influencer, which I've become, and I'm like that to my children. You know, look at mum go. But it's, and I think, Paula, what you said is quite right too. It's like, I think followers go because they have an expectation of what you're going to be talking about.
Absolutely.
So for me, it would be fashion and dressing. I could not be less interested in that now, and I've evolved into something different. So, but yeah, it's the authenticity, and people who are like-minded will find you and stay with you.
It's so interesting you say that you couldn't be less interested in fashion, because we are going to talk about, I mean, we have 3 fabulous fashionistas sitting here, and it's in your blood. I know that it's not your main priority, it's in your blood. I mean, you taught my generation, and I'm older than you, an awful lot with Trini. Can I just ask the 3 of you, each one at a time, how you keep your style, if you believe you have your own style? I believe the 3 of you do. After 50, and who are the labels that you still go to that don't let you down? Amanda, it's obvious, we'll start with you.
Well, come on, Mandy.
Teach us.
I have an issue with the after 50 thing and changing, because in my heart, I'm still 30-something, and I think we evolve, and I hate this idea that you turn a page at 50 and you become someone else. We don't. We're kids at heart. And I don't want to dress like my granny dressed. I mean, I loved her dearly, both of them. But they became old before their time. And I think the minute we start to dress that our age, then we become our age. And I'm a big believer in thinking young, you stay young. And actually, I want to look cool and feel cool and youthful and sexy. Not inappropriately, you know, you probably won't find me in a plunging dress, but I want to feel the best version of myself, and by doing that, that means I do want to retain an element of cool and an element of sportiness, because that's me.
I've had the luxury of going through your wardrobe, and yes, and you do have the most amazing capsule wardrobe. I mean, price per wear. Most of your items are luxury and stunning. Can we just show everybody your leather trousers, high-waisted?
How fabulous.
I mean, these are fabulous, but you said they're not new.
They're 15 years old.
Yeah.
I designed these 15 years ago.
Wow.
And that's the thing I love about really good quality leather leather in particular, it actually gets better. If you look after it, it will be in your wardrobe forever.
How do you look after it? Like with saddle soap or something?
No. Just make sure you hang it up. You know, if it gets wet, hopefully it won't. But if it does get wet, don't put it next to a radiator to dry it.
'Cause then it hardens.
Yeah, then it hardens. You know, and if it gets creased, if you've put it in a suitcase with too many clothes in it, which does happen, then you can just gently press it with a cloth, no
you
steam.
can press it?
Yeah, you can press it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You taught me one tip I've taken with me since I met you, actually, which is as you get older, don't make things too neat. Don't have matching handbags, shoes. Leave things undone, basically. Yeah. It's a great image to live by, I think.
I think, if you don't overdo everything. You know, if the hair's looking great, then maybe you need less makeup, she says. Not this morning.
I'm an overdoer.
No, I won't have that, Paula.
No, but you're not, Paula. You've got the beautiful red lip, but then your hair's slicked back.
Yeah, you look, it's the perfect level of sophistication without being overdone.
But we've been told to accept a compliment, so I'll accept that.
There
Thank you
you
very
No,
much.
it really is your hair and
Can
makeup.
we
You
talk
are
about your
cool.
image? Because we were talking about your Instagram. You are your image. You live what you promote, basically. And it's very nostalgic. It's very classical. And I always think there's a soundtrack following you everywhere.
Oh yes, Ella Fitzgerald is just always playing in my head constantly. The thing is that I have always dressed like this. It's just that I've become older. And so I've always had this sort of retro aesthetic, and I used to wear my pencil skirts when I was in a fashion magazine, and I would always have my twin sets because I had that sort of Mad Men idea of, I loved old Hollywood, so I've always loved that. But when you're younger, it looks cool and trendy, or people see it as, it's a look.
Yeah, otherwise you become the person Amanda was talking about.
Yeah.
You're dressing like your mum.
Absolutely.
When you are your mum's age.
This is it, exactly. But I haven't tried to, dress older. I've just stayed exactly the same. It's just that I'm now sort of a 55-year-old woman who tends to wear longer skirts or sort of like. But I have an idea in my mind. It's a sort of 1950s, 1940s style glamour.
Yes, there is a theme that runs through, and you love Bridgerton. You're influenced
Oh my
by
goodness!
certain
Give me. I mean, I wouldn't even call it a costume. Give me any opportunity to dress up in some sort of period era, and I'll do that. I've eased into my eccentricities, I think, is what I would say. I used to be more scared when I was younger, and I wouldn't sort of lean into it so much. But now I'm just sort of like, give me the puff sleeves, give me the sort of corseted waist, give the knickerbockers. I'll do it all.
Yes,
it's fine.
corduroy knickerbockers.
Yeah,
She's
no, I love it.
fantastic. Susannah, you can't deny this. Your legacy is you gave us all permission to love fashion. I really do believe that. And what's the legacy for you? I mean, you say it's not your top priority, but you must think about what
Yeah,
you
I mean,
put
it's
on.
interesting. People do, and I understand why, kind of think our legacy is fashion, but it's actually not. It's clothes. And the two are very different
yes.
because it's, we from our own experience, we passed on to women dressing for your shape and dressing to hide what you loathe and show off what you love. And it's all about reproportioning your body so that it looks, you look more in proportion. And that has stayed with me. That has never gone. I might dress like a slob every day, but which is why I moved to the country, the main reason. But I do, I will always wear clothes that make me look in proportion and flatter my shape. But as far as dressing now, what I find so difficult is that as I used to have a nice little pert C cup, and I'm now a G cup. And I find that a lot of fashion is very androgynous today. So we were talking about COS, for example, which is a fabulous brand, but it's not for me because nothing is shaped. And so I just look like a sort of miraculously pregnant Dowager Duchess when I wear something that hangs from my boobs, or it's too overt. So for me, my boobs get in the way. It's not my age, it's my tits that prohibit me from dressing in maybe a way I'd like to. So I found that the older I've got, the more kind of masculine, actually, having said all clothes are masculine, but I do dress in quite a manly way. And that kind of deflects from these but I still will show my shape.
Isn't that interesting? And you mentioned COS there. Can I talk to you about other high street or high-end labels that you favour? And this is for everybody. You know, who do you go back to? Our producer today is wearing COS, and we're all lusting after that suit. Oversized, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Sold out, apparently. COS, a firm favourite with everyone. Who else?
Definitely a firm favourite for me. But I think what Claire Wakeley is doing at Uniqlo is genius. I mean, she was ex-Pringle, ex-Givenchy, she did Meghan's wedding dress. You know, she's got the most unbelievable eye. And I've bought a couple of those base layer pieces, and they're 9% cashmere and they're 20 quid. And they wash beautifully and all the rest of it. So I think her eye at Uniqlo is going to be transformative.
I've got Uniqlo on my list too. Best T-shirts ever.
And cashmere.
And cashmere. Yeah.
Really. And thermals for skiing. Amanda's just come back from skiing.
Thermals are essential.
Yeah. Paula?
Monsoon, actually. I'm a lover of colour. And Monsoon are doing these sort of like 1950 shaped sort of skirts and dresses. And I love that. I don't like too much pattern, but I do love colour, and Monsoon have got some great shapes. And I'm all about the shape, because for me, it's that sort of retro silhouette. And so if I can find a sort of prom dress style, then I'll go for it, and they do some great ones.
Can I just ask, do you suffer, I think I know, this is probably rhetorical, any guilt at buying clothes? Do you feel...
It depends. I mean, for me, finding a dress, so if I'm going out in the evening or I've got some event, which is very rare, because I've learnt to say no. But if I'm looking for... If I see a dress that I know is going to suit my shape, I don't care how much I spend on it. And I'll maybe find the perfect dress for me, for who I am. Bit of a tomboy, not wanting to be too overt. I will pay whatever it takes. I don't care. But that might be once every 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I don't have guilt, because I buy secondhand, I will buy vintage pieces and mix it up with newer pieces. And I've got pieces that, I mean, like Amanda, I've got things that I've been wearing for the last 30 years. So I feel like having that mix means that I can do exactly what you've done. So if I'm going to a special event and I see the perfect dress, I know I'm going to... There's nothing I have in my wardrobe that I don't want to be wearing when I'm 80 if I can.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. I'll wear, I wear
I love that. I love that. Amanda?
And I think buy when you see it. Don't buy in a hurry, because that is when you make a mistake.
Advice. Or buy and go, well, I'll lose the extra pounds, or I will change my hair colour, and the orange will suit me.
But when you find that perfect suit or that perfect dress, buy it, because you will need it. I've got a suit sitting in my wardrobe. I said to Hodge this morning that is very similar, and I haven't worn it yet, but I know I'm going to wear it to death when I need it. And I'm not worried about that. I don't feel guilty that I bought this suit 4 months ago and I haven't worn it yet. I know I'm going to love it.
That's understanding your style, isn't
it?
When you really know your style, you don't...
It makes life so much easier
it
too.
Does. It takes all the stress out of it. There's nothing worse than trying to find something in a hurry.
And we started off this whole chat saying, we don't want to dress like our grandmothers. But I think, talking my generation, we are the hardest on each other. We were told, don't show the top of your arms, don't show your knees, don't wear anything above your knee. This generation don't think anything about it. They'll just, celebrate the body wherever you want. So maybe we should bend these rules somewhat. Do you think?
The rules created probably by Trini and I.
The rules created...
I mean, I don't think, if you've got crepey arms here, I don't think you should show your arms.
Do you not?
No, I don't, because I genuinely, I would never in a million years show my crepey arms, because I think they're ugly. And I would feel really uncomfortable. I wouldn't even want to go, I'm going to throw caution to the wind. I don't care. I don't think it's attractive on a woman.
Isn't the important bit there that because you don't feel good about them?
Yeah.
But if somebody feels they don't care, then...
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure there are some women who don't care, but the ones who say they don't care are probably lying.
But I think what was lovely about what you and Trini did is celebrate your best bits.
Exactly.
So if you've got crepey arms, so she with a long sleeve sweater on.
So much bulk here. I dread to think what's going on underneath.
Like Popeye.
I have the muscles, don't worry. But still, I don't really want to be showing my upper arms that much. I'd rather, there are other parts.
But it's
of me.
personal choice, and
Yeah.
I think if you are fine about it, go for it. You know, I think, you know, you're absolutely right, but you know.
I'll just finish because there's an image that came up today on social media of a woman 3 years older than me. I think she's 73 in a bikini on a beach. And they said, you know, is it right that she should walk around like this, celebrating her body? No, but it was like Marmite. There were a lot of people saying, you know, this is not discreet. Really, you're old enough to know better. But the younger people saying, wow, she's alive.
But also,
Celebrate it.
I think with that, it's all about confidence. So I remember Trini and I, we were doing, I think it was a Nescafe ad in Brazil, and we were on Copacabana Beach.
Quite a drop.
I know. And every woman on the beach was wearing a bikini or a thong, no matter what their size, no matter what their age, and they all looked incredible because they had the confidence. And if you've got the confidence, go for it. And it's sexy, because the sexiest thing in the world for a man and a woman is a kind of not inflated confidence, but sort of belief in self.
Yeah.
It's poise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, and it was just, wow.
And not
So
very British,
inspiring.
actually. Is it
No.
wrong for me to say that?
It's not at all.
We're no better than we should be. That's how
Yeah.
we're taught. Not good. Right, we're going to move on to well-being. I mentioned you're plunging into cold water most mornings, Susannah. Well-being is very much a topic out there at the moment for all generations. And I love the way, instead of being called a midlife crisis, it's a midlife chrysalis.
I love that.
Isn't it that we have new chapters? We can celebrate new chapters. And health, there is so much out there for us to improve our health and to remain healthy. So I'm really excited to learn, well, I know some of Amanda's tips because she's just come back from skiing, but your health and well-being, look at you, all glossy, glowy, healthy, in the prime. How do you achieve that? How do you maintain that? Amanda.
Come on, Mandy.
So for
Jumping
me,
out of a helicopter.
it is,
Yes.
for me, it is stretch. I want long and strong muscles, and that is doing my flow every morning if I can, and really stretching out my whole body. So I'm really using to the tips of my fingers, to the tips of my toes, and rotating and really flowing. It is, dare I say, a little bit of meditation, because we all think about our bodies, and you know, we look after our bodies and go to the gym or walks or whatever, but that sort of slowing down the brain for, even if it's just 5 minutes, that has transformed my working, my brain power, my clarity of thoughts. That has really been hugely, hugely helpful.
You demonstrated to Paula and myself upstairs. I mean, it was very impressive.
It was so impressive.
You're like Mercury. You literally have no skeleton. Is that, I mean, because I was saying ask a busy person. Sometimes you're too busy to be able to do it, but you say you make sure you do it 15 minutes at least.
Yes, when I can, and then, you know, when I don't, I get, my body reminds me you need to do it. And things go wrong. You know, your back will be tight, your shoulders will be tight, and so it's your body just saying, hang on, you need this.
You've just come back from skiing. Like Susannah, I'm too scared.
Yeah, we commute really in the winter, so we're skiing a lot through the winter, but we do a lot of ski touring, which means we're climbing the mountains before skiing down them.
Amanda, I'm terrified. You know, you see people coming back from off the plane in plaster and crutches.
All the time. Every Sunday night, there is someone with an arm in a sling or they're on crutches.
That's what terrifies me.
It terrifies me.
I mean,
will
I
there
used to
be-
ski.
Did you?
Yeah, when I was much
But
younger.
a lot of our friends will just skin, so that's ski touring. So they'll climb and then they'll get on the lift at the top and go down,
That's what I
which
need
is
to do.
phenomenal exercise. You're getting lungfuls of really fresh air, And it's just the most wonderful way to be in nature. You know, sometimes I'll take my dog with me, and you know, you climb up through the trees, and it's magical. Maybe see squirrels or chamois. It's absolutely magical.
Will there be a cut-off point, though? Is there a time when you think, I mean, you admitted your knees, because you had a fall.
Yes.
That your
but
knees...
I hadn't been stretching enough. And that was a horrible reminder. If I'd stretched more, I wouldn't have hurt it. And then the one other thing I try to do probably 5 days a week is intermittent fast, you know, time-restricted eating, 16/8. And that, again, clear head, all the blubber, just sort of all the water retention just goes.
Doesn't put you in a bad mood. I'd be in such a bad mood if I didn't.
No. It's a you know, you
get
eat your
used to it,
dinner
I do
and
that.
then you
Yeah, I
eat
know
lunch
you
the
do.
next day. It's you can do it. You can have a coffee. You can have a black coffee. You can have your tea. You can, and before you know it, you're breaking your fast.
I don't blame you not eating green juice or drinking green juice. I did a whole interview with a green smile that no one told me about. Just sitting there looking like Shrek, interviewing someone. So yes, I've left that well alone. Susannah, please can we talk about your plunging into cold water? Because
You are a brave girl.
You are so brave. Is this a daily thing, and how did you start?
It's pretty much daily. I
tub.
call it a barrel.
A barrel.
Yeah, it's a barrel, which is quite ironic because I'm an alcoholic, but it's a huge kind of sherry barrel. And I get into that, or if I'm by the sea, like I've just come back from Cornwall and I went into the sea every day there. But you have to start in the summer, and then your body will acclimatise. And what I love about it is that it only takes a few minutes for maximum benefit. And I would love to have the discipline to do what you do with the stretching. And I know how beneficial it is. And that's one thing I do feel guilty about, is that I don't do enough stretching. But the beauty of cold water therapy, they call it, is that it's so quick. You know, you're in. So if the water temperature is at like 3 degrees, then you only need to go in for 3 minutes. And then it's job done, and you come out feeling amazing. I don't
Do you
get
get
ill.
an endorphin rush?
Absolutely. And you just I feel so smug, because it's the one thing my husband can't do and I can.
He won't do it.
He
won't.
cannot get into cold water. And that probably motivates me more than anything else. But it's so good for your cardiovascular system, your vascular system, for your immune system, you just feel so empowered once you've done it, and you feel, oh my God, I did that.
Yes.
And it's
Amazing.
so easy. We've all got access to cold water, whether it's a bath, a shower. Just have a shower, a normal shower, and then just turn it slowly down to cold and stand under it for 15 seconds.
But isn't there this thing that your body kids you into thinking you're warm, and that's when you get hypothermia?
That's when you get that is hypothermia. Okay, so you might, and because you're in, especially with the barrel, you're like this, and your body is all tense. Oh, I got crumbs or dandruff all over me. You're like that, and so it's a workout as well.
Gosh.
And so because you're tensing up so much, but you just the kind of common rule is spend no more really than a minute for whatever degrees it is.
And would you feel that benefit all day? Do you feel the body?
Pretty much, yeah.
Amazing.
And how long does it take you to warm up again?
It depends. So it depends how long I'm in. But you get out and you think, oh my God, it's so hot and there's frost on the beach. And then the cold will suddenly hit you. So I put a big coat on, get in the car, heating up full, hot cup of tea. Always wear a woolly hat, because that's where the heat.
You wear a hat in it, don't you?
Yeah, when it's really
I urge
cold.
people to watch her, because the swearing is something else when you plunge yourself.
I know. I mean, it is. We're swearing all the time. My children are just as worse than me. But it's fantastic. So I have that, and then I take every day. Another non-negotiable is Simprove, which is for the gut, and it's billions and billions of good bacteria. And what I love about it is that you keep it once you've opened it, you keep it in the fridge. First thing you do when you wake up, you just take a shot, and it's in liquid, so it's in water. It tastes delicious. It's just like 70 millimeters, and you down it, and then don't drink or eat anything for 10 minutes. And I tell you, bloating goes.
Oh my
Really?
gosh, I need that.
I've always had, I was born with hemorrhoids, okay, I've had them all my life. And for the first time ever, well, I've been taking Simprove now for a year and just nearly 2 years, and I've never had a problem
No
downstairs. And because 90% of serotonin is created in our stomachs, it's really, I think, helped with my anxiety a lot. And my entire family take it. So Joe, our son, who's in the Navy, he was, I don't know, fuck knows where, somewhere in the South Pacific. And this gastric bug swept through the ship. And he was the only one who didn't get affected. And my daughter at Bristol Uni, CC, she was the only one who didn't get Freshers' flu. So I think, and it's just key, if you've got your engine, for me the most important thing is keeping my engine healthy. I don't really care about looking like, you know.
In fact, some people call this
ropey.
the brain. This is the brain.
It is the brain. And just look, it's what you do with your car. You take it for a service,
totally.
you keep it oiled, you look after it. And for me, I'm not so worried about the outside, but I am vigilant about my brain, my mental health, and my stomach. Those are the two most
Just tell
important
me the name
things.
one more time.
It's Simprove, Symprove.
And it doesn't taste revolting?
No, it doesn't. And I've given it to my mother-in-law who has Parkinson's. And one of the side effects of Parkinson's is terrible constipation. And it's what the meds do. And since she's been taking it, her bowels are working properly again. And so the medication is working properly. It's getting through to her.
That's amazing.
Great. With my BBC head on, we're not doctors, but I'm going to take your advice.
It
I'm
really
going to say that.
is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's astonishing.
I'm going to try
I've
it.
heard so much about it, but I've not heard somebody
It really is.
speak so thoroughly
and we
about
all
it.
take it. The best thing I can hear is when one of my kids said to me, "Mum, have you got any more Simprove? I need more Simprove."
And this is not an ad, is it?
Well, it sort of is.
Oh.
No, it's not an ad. No, it's not an
No,
ad.
this is not
It's
an
not
ad. We're not doctors. It's not an
No.
ad. This is just advice. So it's up to you whether you
Yeah.
want to try. I'm going to try it.
I'm gonna
Only because I can't be doing with the green face anymore. Paula, I mean, you are so active. You're gardening. You're out there all the time. Do you add exercise as well as the exercise you do from day to day?
I do. I have a Peloton bike, and I'm addicted to my Peloton bike. And we built, over lockdown, we built a gym in the garage, in an old garage. And I didn't use it for about 2 years. I watched the rest of the family use it. I just wanted to make it pretty. It's like, oh, it looks lovely, doesn't it? And then I slowly got addicted to doing my Peloton. So I'm on the bike, but I've realised I don't stretch, which is really bad.
We have to do that, Paula.
And I have to stretch. And I'm going to take this Simprove. But
You need to show us. Show me
next
some
time you
stretching.
see us, we're going to be glowing.
Honestly, I will do. But I just love that feeling after, the endorphins and after you've had that sort of cardio. Because I can't run, my knees are shot to pieces. So sort of being on a bicycle is a great thing for me.
Do you not get frustrated cycling nowhere? That's the Peloton. I just think I'm
No,
not
because
going.
I used to be a big clubber in the 80s and 90s.
I bet you did.
I bet you
Yeah.
So I'm
see
on there
that.
going, yeah, and I'm singing and I'm going, woo, and I'm having the best
It's
time
so
ever.
motivational,
I love
isn't it?
I love
And
it.
before you know it, you've done 30 minutes.
Absolutely. It takes the right instructor, I think,
Yeah.
as well.
What is a Peloton exactly? Is it just a stationary bike?
It is, I mean, it's a spinning bike, I suppose.
Oh,
but you have the instructors and they're sort of like telling
You have a screen in front of
And
you.
isn't it? It's a brand that really suffered when Big in Sex and the City died on it. They literally had to do a whole reinvention of Peloton because people were going, "Oh my God, I don't want a heart attack," because it is a brand, isn't it? There are imitators.
There's lots of others, and I think they probably all do the same thing. It's just that I was a sucker for the name that I'd heard the most and got that.
But what's good about Peloton is they also have yoga classes and stretch
Exactly,
classes and
exactly.
free weight classes.
What, you do that on a bike?
No,
got the
you just
screen.
turn the screen around and you can
And it's all part of the Peloton.
your
Really?
membership.
I bet Amanda could do it on a bike.
Yeah.
She would be doing it.
Probably not.
Grand Jette.
So flexible.
Just very quickly, we mentioned our mothers. The age we're all at now, I look down, I see my mother's knees, I literally see my mother's hands. Because we've got all this help and assistance and, health and fitness, do you recognise your mother in yourselves? Can I just ask you that? Your body is like...
Physically?
Yeah.
I'm totally my mother. The only difference with my mother is that my mother had her last child at 46 and kept her weight on and got larger. So her legs started to bow. But in terms of her actual physique, I'm identical.
Wow.
And so there's a lot that my mother didn't do that I've decided, well, I'm going to do that because I can see how I will go and how my legs and knees will suffer. My mother, even though she was a mental health nurse, she was very much, I would ask about the menopause and I'd ask about pregnancy and she'd say, oh, you'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. She never gave me any answers.
Same.
And so in a way, that helped me because as
course.
I have become the person who finds out all the answers because I tell my daughters from an early age, I've told them, you know, whether it's sex, whether it's menopause, whether it's periods, I had to learn a lot of things from books, even though my mother was a nurse.
Same. Isn't that crazy? Generation. Susannah.
It's interesting following on from what you're saying, Paula, that you had to find everything out yourself. I have a bit of a bugbear with the whole menopause thing, which is it's become, on the one hand, it's like a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's become a thing and people are recognising it and it can be incredibly hard for some women. But also it's like if my daughters want to insult me now, they go, oh, Mummy, you're so menopausal. It's like they think, if they didn't have me saying, it's fine, they see all this sort of noise going on around them and they think it's like a death sentence.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of almost gone too far, and I think there's a lot to be said, which is why it's great to have this, that there is life after menopause.
It's a great life.
It's actually your best life.
Yes.
It's a death sentence, and we need to be talking about that.
Yeah,
Fuck
totally.
the menopause.
So,
you
but you
through
hadn't
it.
thought about that. For young people, it's like this iceberg you're heading towards.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And
it's
in
just
Japan,
a chapter.
they don't even have a
it.
word for menopause.
Isn't that interesting?
You know, in Africa, a woman who has been through her menopause is the most revered because
love
she
that.
is retaining her wisdom because she's not bleeding anymore. And that's why, you know, the young women, when they had their period, they had to go and be segregated and put in a period hut or whatever they're called. And so it's seen as a positive thing. And I think it's like...
I remember watching Michael Palin, and he went to Menstrual City somewhere in the Far East, where all the women menstruated behind. I mean, imagine.
Yeah.
No, but it's the company of women. You probably look forward to it every month.
Yeah.
Menstrual City. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
It's a weekend break. Amanda, is your mother in you? Can you see it?
Yes, and the amount of sun damage, definitely. We just didn't even think about it. You know, I was putting baby oil on my skin as a teenager and baking in the sun. But so yes, we've both been on that journey. But yeah, she's 91, about to be 92, and in great shape. And I mean, when I visit her, she does her exercises every single morning.
What an
and
inspiration.
it really is inspiring. She's so disciplined.
Well, you're going to have a long and good life.
Well, from your lips to God's ears.
We were talking about chapters and how, I mean, Paula, you said, look, my life is even better, probably.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Can we talk about careers and age? So, name dropping. I met Pamela Anderson this week. Can I just say her film, The Last Showgirl, is amazing. Oh my God, please. Jamie Lee Curtis, amazing. She sings Turn Around with a spray tan.
Turn around.
Oh my God. Susanna, that one. You will just love it. Anyway, she said to me that at the age of 57, her career is just starting. What a fabulous thing to say. So can we talk about careers? Can I ask, Amanda, when did your career start? I mean, you were famous and successful very early.
So I had 30 years with the Amanda Wakeley brand, and that came to a fairly abrupt end. And it was a proper crossroads in my life. I mean, I have to admit, I lost my brother within 2 weeks of the end of the business. So it was a horrible year. And I remember an amazing grief counsellor, Julia Samuel, who I'm sure you all know. And she said, this is your fertile void. And I remember thinking, I'm not exactly sure. She said, it's a liminal space. take the time. And I did take the time. I had to take the time. And I feel so grateful for that. And then I created this new chapter, and I have never felt so excited and so energized.
Can I just butt in there? I don't want to dramatise it, but do you think the grief stopped your creativity?
No, because it all happened at the same
once.
time. But what I did realise, that I needed to process that grief. You can't, I've been one of those people all my life, all my career. Okay, fine, let's just go on, and not taking a moment. And that, if I've got one regret, it would be not taking a moment to say, oh my God, that happened. That was incredible. Or I am really proud of that show we put on yesterday. Not just taking that moment to say, give myself a pat on the back. And not to be egotistical about it, but I think, we've got to talk to ourselves and be kind to ourselves. And I probably wasn't very kind to myself.
Yeah.
And so that forced pause was really, really healthy for me.
Yeah, how interesting. And it is what I was saying, that, our lives, well, women, we live chapters, hormonally, we live chapters, and I think it's so interesting with the three of you, your careers have been in chapters as well. Susannah, it's so, like Amanda, you were on the radar at a very young age, influencing other people before the world of influencers. Looking at that career and now the career you have, how do you compare it?
Well, I think that kind of one of the benefits about my career with Trini is that we weren't incredibly young. When we really became stratospheric, we were in our 30s. And so we had the maturity to be able to deal with it and not really be affected by, again, all the noise going around and attention. But we were married,
Yeah.
and we still are to a certain degree. And like Amanda, when our career stopped, it kind of trickled on. Everyone got bored of us in this country. We got bored of us in this country, and then we started to do things abroad in countries all over the world, which was amazing because we'd spend a long time in Israel or India or Scandinavia and really get to know the country. So we kind of arrived as a tourist and left as a resident almost, which was a real privilege. But when that kind of stopped, it was absolutely devastating because we'd been Trini and Susannah for so long, and suddenly we were there having to be Trini and Susannah. And even today, if someone perhaps might miraculously recognise me, they'll go, oh, look, there's Trini and Susannah. It'll never be, oh, there's Susannah. So both of us, Trini has done so incredibly well with her brand and Trini London, and it is flawless. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm so proud of her. But I could never have done that. I'm too lazy. I'm not driven enough. And it doesn't appeal. I'm more of a creative person. So looking back on our TV years, it was an amazing thing. We were so lucky to have done that, and it was so rewarding, helping women to make the best of themselves. And that's the part I loved. But I don't think I was true to myself doing that, which I think is one of the reasons. I'm an alcoholic, it's a disease, and I have alcoholism. But I think it was exacerbated by pretending to be someone I wasn't. Yeah.
I have met you before.
Yeah.
And that was at Trini London, the opening of her store on the King's Road.
Yes.
I don't know if I was following you around with my vlogging camera.
Okay.
But
I was deliberately trying to avoid you.
You were trying to avoid me. You sort of stepped over me.
Yeah.
But I was so intrigued when you arrived because I just thought, God, now I'm going to see how friendly they are.
Yeah.
And it was very emotional. When you
Yeah.
arrived, because she was, it's Trini, everyone was there, literally everyone. And you arrived and you could just see the affection between the two of you.
We're very, we really are. We don't see each other because I'm living in Sussex and she's in London and she's so incredibly busy. But she probably is the one person who would rescue me if the boat was going down and I had all my family, she'd be the person to rescue me, and vice versa. So, and now, today, with my writing, I'm just starting my 4th book now, And that is something I've always loved. It's what I've always done in the background, you know, through journalism. I've read voraciously all my life. I didn't go to university, but I went to the University of Reading and learnt so much about the constructing a book and what needs to go into it. And that is my passion. And I think one of the main reasons I love it so much is that it means I have to be alone, and I'm so happy in my own company.
And do you think it's made sense of all your life, where you are?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to bring Paula in on this at the moment, because she's also a writer. But it's like all that you went through, including alcoholism.
Yeah.
It's now made sense in your writing. Yeah.
It's like I've come home.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of but it's almost like, you know, it's that thing of feeling young. When you're actively drinking, and I think it's the same with any addiction, you come out of that at the age you were when you started. So because the intervening years are just a blur of chucking down another bottle, and you come out. So my brain is very young and I forget things, but the way I think is like I did when I was, you know, in my 20s. But I've got the benefit of experience and wisdom which can be attached to
Wow,
that.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
before, but that's fascinating.
Brilliant. Paul, I'm going to bring you in. You're working, you've just about to publish your second book in Cozy Crime series. Give us the title.
Well, the new one is The Body in the Kitchen Garden.
And the first one?
Lovely.
The Potting Shed Murder. See, I'm having to think about my own book. What's it called again?
I urge you to read these, because I haven't read the second one. I've been around when you were writing the second one.
Yes.
But yes, so you're a published author, but your background, your career started in a very different way, didn't it?
Yes, weirdly, I did a degree in town and country planning, which has got nothing to do with anything I ever did. Yes, I did.
No.
Who knew? So
that's impressive.
I'm a qualified town and country planner, and who went into fashion. I went straight into work. It was Elite Premier Model Agency at the time, and I went into PR, and I did the press for the supermodels at the time. So that was my first job, my first career, which was it was an amazing time. It was the early 90s. And then anyway, I transitioned into magazines. I ended up working for Elle magazine and being the bookings director there and organising all the fashion shoots and all of that sort of stuff. But what I realised, compared to now, is I loved fashion, was obsessed. But I don't think I've ever been brilliant at working for other people. I think I was never me, and I always held something back. And, you know, of course, it's a privilege being able to do what I do now, and I understand, you know, working for other people is what you do. You've got to work, you've got to earn a living. But I have never been as authentic as I have been since certainly since turning 50. Oh. You know, the confidence and the freedom just to be me, and literally the lack of care. I don't care what anyone else thinks. And so, it's a beautiful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. And that means you don't care if you fail or if you trip over or if you know, it's okay to make a fool of yourself as well. Yeah. But also, you know, sticks and stones, people can say things and it's sort of like, okay, fine, water off a duck's back, which is an amazing feeling. My God, I used to feel everything when I was younger. You know, if somebody said, you know, that doesn't suit you or whatever, you would take it to heart. Any bit of criticism you would take to heart. And now it's sort of water for duck's back.
And it's also, lovely. You're saying what the other girls are saying, that it's everything you went through makes sense of where you are now. It all makes sense. So there's so much to look forward to. It is chapters, isn't it?
It really is.
And there's more chapters ahead of
And they're all great chapters. Even, you know, I'm not sort of like, I would never change anything. Everything I've been through is fine. I went through a very dark and lonely period when I first moved to Norfolk, where I thought, who am I? What, you know, who is this person? I've come from the heady world of fashion in London.
Were you married at the time when you moved?
Yeah.
You moved the whole family, didn't you?
Moved the whole family, which was a brilliant idea. And then suddenly I got them sorted and I thought, oh, okay, what do I do now? I can't do my old job. And I went through a few years of feeling really low, thinking, gosh, I've really mucked up, haven't I? Because I've lost my identity. And I suddenly came out, you know, through gardening, through sort of rediscovering my style and through I'm a bit of an extrovert, introvert. I can be extroverted outside of the house, but I love being on my own. I love my own company, which is why writing is so good, because I love that, being in my garden office and just being behind my computer.
Wow,
That's where I want to end
It's
up.
kind of, I think, when you're writing, you don't have to be responsible or accountable for anything else. And it's like, I think the older you get, especially with children, I just think, oh, for God's sake, there's so many responsibilities. And I am so bad with responsibility, and I cannot be accountable for anything. And writing gives me permission to be like that, and that's why I love it.
Yeah. So can we just finally finish with your favourite, what you're enjoying at the moment? I mentioned Pamela Anderson. I went to see The Last Showgirl. I highly recommend it. Please go and see it, everybody. Can I just ask what you're enjoying at the moment, Amanda?
I am loving beauty at home. So using the Ruby app and having a pedicure at home while I'm on my laptop with the fire, heaven.
Oh my gosh, right.
What, so you have...
So someone comes to you
okay.
for really not even the same price as a salon. It's very well priced, and we'll do massages, spray tans, yes.
Oh my gosh.
All facials. But I love a pedicure at home. I mean, who wants to put on a pair of flip-flops?
Oh no, flip-flops.
In this weather.
And get back on the tube or
pedicure,
something. No, I agree
and then
with
go
you.
and find your car or a taxi or whatever. No,
Gosh,
thank you.
I would love that. It takes 100 years for everyone to get
Beauty at home.
Beauty
Thank
at
you,
home.
Susanna.
Amazing.
Well, I've never even had a facial, so I might start.
Damn her.
But the thing I've discovered, well, there's two things. The most amazing book, which is so relevant right now, called The Wizard of the Kremlin by an Italian called Giuliano da Empoli. And it's a kind of fiction of Putin's rise. And it makes sense of everything where we are today and how he's basically, his whole kind of administration and his political stance has been was created by this TV producer. And has been positioned like a superhero.
It's like Trump.
So it's kind of like, and it makes so much sense. Anyway, that is a fascinating and brilliant book. And then the other thing I am addicted to, which I discovered about a year ago, are boiled beans, which is, they are...
Putin and boiled beans.
They are these jarred, butter beans, what are they called? Chickpeas, pulses. And they are the most delicious thing. I literally eat them out of the jar. And you can make so many things with it. Put a bit of goat's cheese in and some leeks and shove it in the oven. Delicious. And they're so good for you.
Proper superfood.
Yeah, they really are. And it's called, it's the boiled bean. And I saw them actually on Dragon's Den. That's how I heard about them.
So that's the brand name.
And
Boiled
that's
beans.
a brand. And they
This isn't an ad.
This really isn't an ad. And I'm just, and it's, I think they're quite young. They're sort of in their 20s. This young woman and boy who've done it. And I think it's so inspiring, and they're so passionate about it. But they are delicious.
And good fibre.
Yeah.
Thank you. Paula.
I'm so boring. I'm literally addicted to YouTube at the moment.
I love you admitting that. Good girl.
Do you know, I'm watching other people's lives. I don't know what it is about. It's like a reality show, but it's not a pretend reality show. It's just other people's lives.
So who?
I love looking at Lydia Millen doing
Lydia
her
Millen, we're
gardening
obsessed.
and getting her new horse.
Lydia's got a horse. She doesn't need us to promote her. She's got millions of people.
It's like, why do I like looking at other people's lives? But I love it.
But can I just say, so EastEnders has celebrated 40 years, right? Who watches soaps? Why would you watch a soap which is fictitious when you can watch...
Never watched one episode.
No,
I
because there's
want
real
to
life
see Josie
drama.
make muffins and get her sprouts from the garden. And I want to see you on a Sunday morning.
I want to see you put more on your YouTube,
I know,
please. So you know now, if ever you want planning permission Paula is the person to go to.
I am really excited
You
about that.
have so many talents.
30 years out of date, the information I'll give you, but I can give you some advice.
I have loved this so much. Thank you so much to all these girls. Aren't they wonderful? Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We would love it if you would comment below, give us a thumbs up and do subscribe. And we do answer. I try and answer all the comments. Have a wonderful day. Say goodbye, girls.
Goodbye.
Bye.